Hey, everybody. I am back. I know some of you saw me this morning, but I have a special guest with me, and I'm her special guest too, I think. Am I your special guest, Loranda?
Yeah, you're my special guest.
Did you see where you were able to share it out?
No, I don't see that. Hold on, let me see.
Okay. It should have popped up like
It
right
ain't popping nothing. Nothing
okay, let's
popping.
see. I
I
wonder.
if you're live on your page, I can just share from there.
Okay. All right, everybody. So we're not going to take up too much of your time. I have partnered with LaRonda, and I'm actually going to let her introduce herself because she does a lot of things, and I don't want to miss anything because she's bad and all in herself. So, LaRonda, if you could introduce yourself to my people, for the people who don't know, I know your people know you, but my people don't necessarily know who you are. So, if you could share your greatness on my page, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Well, my name, thank you, Reagan, for having me. So, my name is LaRonda Doherty. I am the representative of Beautiful Brand. My brand is just up and running again. I launched it in 2015 and kind of took some time, did some things with the women in my community. We specialize in helping women to bring out their purpose, their creativity, and their overall purpose in life. And so that is who Beautiful Brand is. I am planning to reach out to our Indianapolis, Indiana community, but we are branching out to other women communities just to kind of be a resource, a service, and a strength for what it is that women need and desire in their lives.
All right. And one of those desires is to have a man, Sister LaRonda. Would you
Yes,
agree?
ma'am. I agree. A good man.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, not just a man. And that's one of the things about Build a Man, is we're going to be specific. So, what is Build a Man? So, a few years ago, well, let me start over because I got to give you the background story. So, I'm 44 now, just had a birthday, but when I was 18, I made a list out about my ex-husband.
okay.
And so, well, no, I made a list out about all the qualities that I wanted in a man. And 8 years later, I married the same exact person that I wrote about on that paper. Now, the great thing is it came true, but the bad part of it is the things that I wrote down would not be the things that I wrote down that I would write down right now. And so God
Mhm.
told me to come back and talk to the ladies about writing down the things that they want for their man. And so everybody is kind of knowledgeable about vision boards. And they're very popular. So if you've had anything that has come true on your vision board, what do you think is going to happen when you put your mate down? But we're going to do the vision board a little bit differently. So LaRonda and I met several years ago, and we were supposed to partner with an event, and that did not happen because she had little miracle. And so we decided to come back and revisit this again. So I am going to come to Indianapolis and show every woman that wants to come how to build their perfect man from the inside out because it absolutely can be done.
Absolutely. It will be done. If you
Yeah,
want
it
it,
will be done.
yeah. Yep. If you want it, it is possible. It is possible. And it should be. It should be possible because we as women, I say we as people, period, we plan for a lot of things. And so I think that's a really huge myth within our community is that we don't, picture or we do, but we don't put emphasis on it. So, we put emphasis on our jobs, on our careers, on our the way our home looks, the type of vehicle we want. You know, we plan out our lives as far as like our education and different things like that. But as far as our relationships, we kind of go in blind a lot of times, not having uh, having overall what we want it to look like. Now there are some surface things that we look for. We want them to be, tall, dark, and handsome, or to smell a certain way, have a certain amount of money in the bank, or the financial stability to be able to suit us as women and the things that we desire. Um, and also to uphold, the family. We look for suitable men, but yet we don't necessarily put emphasis on how that man should look in reference to our purpose, who we are, what we need, what we desire, what we should have, as far as the backbone and the strength to what it is that we need as women when we go through these certain things. Being the helpmate, being what we need to be for, the man to be able to bring out what it is in him that is needed, to be uh, our mate. So I think it's important. I think it's important to have a vision for anything. The word tells us, for anybody, just a disclosure, we are believers. And so a lot of our thoughts and our processes are going to come off of um, a biblical foundation. And that is because our purpose is centered around, who God has called us to be. And so it's important to have vision, because without vision, the word tells us that God's people perish. And so, in order for us to thrive, to live, we have to live by faith. And I believe faith is surrounded by our vision and our purpose, or it should be. It should be. It's a very, very essential part of what it is God has called us to do in our authentic selves. So,
Yep. And one of the things, like I said, I've done vision board. I've been in business for almost 10 years, and I've done several vision board parties. Um, and one of the things that, going back to what LaRonda was saying, we are believers. The word says, write the vision and make it plain. And some people come from that scripture to talk about the vision boards. However, with vision boards, people go get magazines and cut them out and paste them. And God is like, okay, that's cool. Well, I'm translating because I don't think he's gonna be like it's cool, but it's cool for you guys to get started with, having this. So we're going to cut the pictures out and we're going to post them. But every year we should be elevating into what exactly I said. So when he says write the vision, we're supposed to be writing down the things that we want, right? And so on these vision boards, we can physically see what we want, but what does the inside of that thing look like? How does it function in your life? So if I take your full vision board, and I see a big picture of a house. Okay, it's beautiful on the outside, but what is the house a home on the inside? It does the plumbing work? Is the foundation well? Does it need another roof? Like, I just visually see what you want, and I still, once you show me that picture may not be exactly what you want. You know what I mean? It may be like a little bit. So when you write the vision, you're going to write down exactly what you want. And so oftentimes I would see during the vision board parties is when I would have single women. They would always have a marriage on there, a ring, or, something that talks about having a mate. And I'm like, also, Lord, like when he gave it to me, he said, why don't you just concentrate on the man that they want? And then God also talks about giving us the desires of our heart as well. And so we will have what we say, but we just have to be specific in what we want, because oftentimes women will be like, Lord, just go ahead and send my man. Just send my man. Well, what type of man do you want?
right.
Do you want him to be nice? Do you want him to be faithful to you? Do you want him to have really good sex? A lot of people don't talk about that, but God created sex. Let me be very clear. On my board, I want good sex, because that's important to me, because I spent a lot of years not having it. Right? Okay. So the thing, like, I want my husband to be, be a leader. He needs to, be a visionary. Those are the things that I'm looking for. Now, granted, God, there may be some things on my list that God is like, now, Reagan, now, this is not, I know what you need. But if God gives us 80% I mean, how is it like? If he gives us more of our wants than our needs,
Right.
no, he's going to give us our needs. He's going to
Right.
give us more of our needs than our wants. It's still,
Mhm.
we still going to be straight. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But we
Yeah.
still need to know what to ask for. Yes, we want to be attracted to our mate. Absolutely. I know I do. I know you do. But some of those things are more important. And then also, I believe once we get those more important things, we're going to be attracted to them anyway, just
Mhm.
because of those things that we were missing. Like if I could show y'all my list of what I wrote when I was 18, it was throw it away in the trash.
Mhm.
Throw it away. But listen, I'm telling you, it works because everything I wrote down, I got. So what happens when you write down everything you want? And God gave me specifically how to do it. And I just believe that, again, if you've ever done a vision board, and anything has come true on the vision board where you're just cutting pictures out and pasting them, what more will it be when you write it down and do it exactly the way God said do it?
Yeah. And that is, it's actually super important. I am married. Um and I remember um towards the beginning of our relationship, I had wrote some things down, but I can say, honestly, along the way, there have been some things, of course, with any relationship, there's going to be a compromise, or sometimes where you're going to have to, come to a resolve about things that you want. And some things may change as time goes on. Your vision should, develop into a greater insight as to what God is calling you to do. Because um, with everything we evolve. Times have changed. There are some things that when God first taught me, a lot of things have changed as far as how things are done. I would have never thought that I would be on a camera, talking about my personal life. Those are some things, but along the way, I realized that, when God was calling me to the masses, I was not necessarily going to travel everywhere in the world, but my voice and my purpose that's in my belly um, has to be heard and seen as it relates to everything. I share things about my motherhood. I share things about my marriage. I share things about failed relationships, my business, ministry, all of those things. And so it should be with relationship. Should I help my sisters, and my brothers with things that have failed me in my marriage? There are certain things that I, wrote down that I got away from, and why is that? When you don't know what it is that you want, or you don't have a full scope, um, or not necessarily a full scope, because as sometimes, God ain't gonna show you everything because he know how you are. I know for me, for me, he like, because if I show you that, but there are some things like my discernment at times were, kicked in, and there's things that, he showed me, as you were talking about on your earlier live today that you did, being prepared, preparation. And in a relationship, it is so important that, not necessarily problem solve, because, when the problem arise, um, how you deal with it in that moment is different. But knowing what you will and won't do, having a purpose in your mind as to how far you'll let something go, what you're willing or unwilling to do, as far as a compromise. In a relationship, I can say, as a, in a relationship with your girlfriends, when you are, in the midst of, different women. I can remember at times me saying, um, I don't do women, but because I'm called into the area of helping women, I have to learn how to do women. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when I say do women, I'm like, at times I just didn't fool with them. I felt like, oh God, women are so emotional. But I'm like, I'm an emotional woman,
Right.
so I need to be able to connect with my sisters and them help me and me help them. So I had to at one point give in to the call that was on my life in order for me to fulfill what it was that God wanted me to be, to be. And part of the brand, the beautiful brand, is being you to its fullest. And then what does that mean? You know, as I develop in this business, there are going to be things I found out about myself. And some things I'm gonna love, some things I'm gonna like, and some things I'm just not gonna like. And there's some things, as I'm writing out this vision and writing out this business plan, there are some things that I have to change, you know. And so as it relates to my relationship, there are things that have happened, you know, honestly, that has had me question, you know, where I was in life.
Right.
You know, everything has not been sunny. Everything has not been sweet. Have there been sweet moments? Absolutely. There have been some unfavorable moments. There's been some real life things that have happened in the 19 years of marriage that I have been in. It has not been an easy road, but I feel like had I had a certain plan or some type of compass, where I knew, and then a part of that compass is, as you're going to talk about in the workshop, is the anatomy of a man and what that looks like. Not just the anatomy of his body, but his spiritual anatomy. You know, what a
Right.
man wants, because you have, you know, sat down with some men. So, you know, and you have sat down with women. You have been in a room recently with some foolish women, you know, who had some beautiful voices, beautiful voices in the
That's
male
it.
community
That's it.
that was representing for the male culture, who were, you know, as you were stating, were being beaten down by a woman's perception of what a man should look like, when these men were on the panel telling you what they needed, what they wanted, what they desired, but yet you still, you know, want to create this, you know, I guess, perfect man. And it's not like, I'm not saying that we can't, it's a perfect man out there, but it's a perfect man for you. So what
Right.
Sheila wants, what Reagan wants, what LaRonda wants may not all fall into the same category. So we can't box these men in expecting them to be one type of way, just like they're not going to look at us to be one type of way. You know, I got red hair. Reagan got some blonde hair. You know, it may be a man out there that desires someone that's a little bit more toned down, and that's
Uh,
fine.
they not for me. No, I'm
Right.
just.
But
But
we
I do have a
compromise.
question really quick,
Uh-huh.
LaRonda, on here because I didn't want her to get away because I get this question a lot. So, and I'm gonna let you also answer this, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but I did because I've been forgot.
Here, because I got
So,
something I can speak to.
when I presented this weekend, and I was talking about the Build a Man workshop when I was in Atlanta, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the married women, I'm having more married women actually come to me with this. Can I come to the Build a Man workshop? At first I was like, yeah, I don't know, because it's about women. You know what I mean? I mean, and it's like, I don't want to help you rebuild your husband. Okay, that's not what we're doing. Because guess what? We can't do change a man. However, this book was written. The workbook was written about my marriage. It was written. I was married for 14 years. It's about my marriage. But the main thing, and I'm going to say this because I don't want to talk about everything that's in this workbook and in this event, is I talk about women taking accountability. So women that are married can come if they want to, but I'm going to be very clear when I say this. You're not going to be able to change anybody till you change yourself. And I have very
Absolutely.
personal stories about that. God is not
Mhm.
going to let you check no man, you're nothing. He's going to point the finger back at you. So, yes, the short answer is women are welcome, but I'm not teaching married women how to build or rebuild their husband. It's going to be
Mhm.
about you. It's going to be, and listen, I'm going to be honest. Also, if you are not willing to change your mindset about relationships and just just doing something different than what you've done, and I'm probably going to offend some people, or not on purpose or step on their toes, but what we have been doing in the past has not been working. So we
Mhm.
need to change some things. What did you say? Absolutely. Thank you. So I don't know, LaRonda, if you agree with what I just said or not, because you're also going to be co-hosting. I don't know if you want to welcome in the married women. You are married, but like I said, a lot of this is going to be about accountability, women taking accountability for their actions and changing things as well.
And when I look at this, if there's any women on here that know that they are called to help their sisters, help, women within the community, I say, that this workshop would be for you as well, because there are some things I know. For me, I'm a married woman, but there are some things um you can kind of sometimes get wrapped up in yourself, in your thought pattern, and kind of get away from what it was that you knew was in you and desired, because when you're in something, um, you where you are at, the atmosphere that you're around sometimes can take you away from what you originally thought about yourself,
Right.
so I can speak from that aspect to say no, that you're not changing the relationship, but you're more so being healed and coming into contact with who you are and what you truly desire. And we're not trying to talk anyone out of relationships or restructure what you're already in if you're a married woman, but I also say that you can help your sisters by attending, or even maybe if you're a married woman, having known what you've been through, the processes of things that you had to go through, to get your sisters there, that are looking, so that if there are some mistakes that you have made, if there are some things that you have experienced or accepted, and you don't want your sisters to go through the same thing, I would say, be there in the room with them. So,
Yeah.
that there's so many layers to it. It's not, because anything that we do in life it shouldn't be selfish. Everybody is called for something.
Right.
Everybody has a purpose for something. And so, quite naturally, if you are any type of a woman, you're going to be around other women, so I
Right.
have been in the space, now. When I first met Reagan, she was married, but now she is a single woman. She is a widowed woman. She has experienced hurt on so many different levels. I, as a married woman, have experienced hurt. She's been in the place where I'm at. Um, but I feel like this is not just, I think a lot of people get caught up in the title because it's build a man. Um, but because we are women called to be helpmates, because we are women that are called to be the bone of his bone and the flesh of his flesh, like we have a great component to what is uh in our world, how we develop men, how to talk to them, you know, how to nurture those areas in them
I
that,
think a lot of that's been lost, though. I'm gonna be
yeah,
honest.
absolutely. But then that's why we have this
It's been
workshop.
lost.
Yeah. Because we
Yeah.
gotta get
I,
back
you
in touch
know
with
what?
it.
Listen, I was listening, and I posted about this. And if y'all see me messing up my face, my allergies are, listen, it's a mess. I'm sorry, and his hair is blowing. But I was listening to a lady talk about how she pampers her man, and I look at marriage a lot differently than some women. I like old school marriage in some senses, because I am quote unquote an alpha female. So I'm out, I'm moving and grooving, I have a business, I have all of that stuff. But the part of when we come home, like I desire very good communication. I know how to leave you alone when you don't want to be bothered for a minute, let you get your space. Um, that cooking that meal for him, even though I'm tired, or he can reciprocate and cook a meal or whatever, and we spend that time together. Anytime I can spend pouring into him, I just remember, even though I'm divorced, I loved pouring into my husband. Like I got very good results when I poured into him. when our
Mm-hmm.
communication was good. It was an experience, because I'm not saying it was perfect at all. It was not. But I believe if we get unselfish and start learning how to give to one another, because I know the men have to do the same thing, but I keep hearing women say, well, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing it, he need to learn, he need to, but we have to look at ourselves and start getting back to being vulnerable. I know a lot of the times we feel like, especially in dating, we can't be vulnerable. We got to play this game, and we don't have to do that. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why I say we have to pray for discernment, because off the rip, you gonna know who's for who. We gonna know if you for me. And a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
times when we have gotten married or gotten into a situation, we knew, man, we saw all these red flags. We knew this person was not for us, and we did it anyway.
Anyway.
We did it
Mm-hmm.
anyway. Also, I wanted to tag on to this: women who are married but aren't necessarily with their husbands, or separated, or on the fence about it. I need them to be there. I need them to be there. Only because I talk about purpose, and I believe that you should really know your purpose, or be along the lines of that, before you get married, because your
Yeah.
husband is going to need something to help you with. You're going to need something to help him. Like, y'all have to know what this thing is. And the Bible
Mm-hmm.
talks about one can chase 1,000, two can chase 10. And so
Mm-hmm.
imagine two people coming together to lift one another's purposes up, like, and be good for the community, the kingdom, the family. You can do more with two people. And there are a lot of
Absolutely.
people in wrong marriages. There are a lot of people in wrong marriages, and they are in, listen to me, they are in your way. And God has told you to leave them. God has told you to separate. But listen, one thing I'm not going to do, this is also a side note. I am never going to tell you to get a divorce. I'm
Mm-hmm.
never going to say get a divorce. I'm going to say, what did God say? I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to give you those clues to point back to you and what the word says about your purpose in life. Because a lot of the things, God can only give you so much. And I've seen this spiritually when I deal with certain people. I'm not released to say anything. But there are people who have, women specifically, that have these huge calls on their lives. And God is
Mm-hmm.
moving. He is moving in their lives, but he's holding up some things because they're with the wrong people.
Mm-hmm.
And he can only release certain things when the right people are around. Because guess what? They're going to be able to partake in what God has blessed you with, when he didn't want that in the first place. Or,
Yeah.
I helped such and such. I helped my wife. I was here for my wife. No, nigga, no, you were not. No, you were not.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, while you may be doing great, you're in this miserable marriage, or we just marry on paper. What are you doing? You're wasting time, and you're holding yourself up. Life could be good, but it can be better with the right man if you want one. Now, if you don't want one, I'm not talking to you. But if you want one, because for me, I'm a successful woman. I would want to be successful with my husband. I'm called to be married. I'm not called to be single. I'm just
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, and people, and that's another thing that I experienced in my marriage, is we looked really good on paper. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we had the cars, we had the houses, we had all of that. But inside, it was trash. It was trash. And all of his friends knew it. After we divorced, like, listen to me, I can just give you some stories. I'm gonna let that man rest in peace. But I could give you some stories
Yeah.
when we look great on paper, but it was trash. So what are
Mm-hmm.
we doing? Why are we holding on to comfortability? Because
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, I stayed because he was financially stable. And God was
Yeah.
like, let me show you something. Because you wasting time. You wasting time. Did you want a hopscotch into this? I'm sorry, you was looking like.
So, well, that was kind of one of my questions, because I was going to ask you, after being married, what does that look like for you, knowing that
Take a bite of my sandwich. Sorry.
it's okay.
Sorry. I'm hungry.
She on
Sorry,
break,
guys.
y'all. But that was one of, my follow-ups was to ask you, you know, um, after having been married, you know, is there life after divorce? As in regards to um, getting back into the swing of dating, and what that looks like. Um,
Listen to
for,
me.
for
There absolutely is. I am the happiest I've ever been in my life
mhm, mhm,
right now. And I'm not even actively dating. Like I I'm not getting no text messages. No, I'm getting some DMs randomly here and there, But I'm not actively like, yeah, because guys, we want to do little fillers to see where I'm at with it. My concentration right now is on my purpose and growing my vision. My concentration is seeking out these women who want to have these relationships because God told me in 2020, like when COVID was going on, that he has men that are ready to have relationships and be married. And
mhm,
matter of fact, I've seen them because I've dated them. When I got on the dating
mhm,
sites and started going out here on dates and stuff, it was me. Listen to me. These men was trying to take me off of these dating sites quick, fast, in a hurry. Man, you a wife material. Well, I know that. I know that. But
right,
they're ready. But for me, they weren't my type in the sense that I'm still moving and grooving with my business. And so whoever I'm with is gonna have to undergird what I got going on. Right? I'm not finna
absolutely.
come home and sit and look at you all day. That's not my
Mhm,
thing. Man, we can sit and look at each other a few days for the month, but you need to have your purpose and I need to have mine. And we need to have one together, right? And so for me, I'm chasing my purpose, what God told me to do, and to educate the women who want to be married because they're ready.
mhm,
But there are some things that the women are going to have to change. And they have to
mhm,
change them only because it's healing in the process of that. Because we're used to
mhm,
dating certain people. And if you want to step it back further, we need to look at our parents. How did your
right,
mama treat you? How did your daddy
mhm,
treat you? Did you have teachers, aunties, uncles, your friendships? All of that molded you before you even got to dating. How were you loved? Were you loved properly? Were you in survival mode when it came to being loved? Did you get hugs? Like all of that affects it. And so we dating people just compiled on top of our own trauma. It just
yeah,
compiled. So we have to like retrain our brain. Because if
yeah,
like I know one person, her mama never married, the aunts never married. Well, a couple of them did, but for the most part it was just women in the house. I got this, we going to work, you don't need no man unless it's time to have sex. No, that ain't it. That's not it. And so we need to retrain our brain to say, I was listening to something today, I don't need a man. I
mhm,
don't need a man. No, you
mhm,
do. You do, and you should. And he wants to be needed. But that's part of
mhm,
vulnerability. You should want and need your man. Because when he knows you want and need him, you can't miss. We don't have
yeah,
to be so hard all the time, but you got to have the right man to be able to share that with. And I know that's a hard spot to be in, but that's where that discernment kicks in. Lord, protect me from the people I'm not supposed to be around. Show me
right,
who's who. You know what I mean? Yeah.
right. And that kind of goes into another question I had down here. The question was, do you believe that relationship can recover trauma? And I wouldn't necessarily say relationship, but I would say, a person. Having had what would you say the steps would be for a woman and um, recovering from traumatic injury as it relates to um, relationship and being in a relationship with someone. Like, what should she be looking for? Or should she be looking for anything? Like you were just saying, you got to know what your purpose is, but beyond the purpose, like what steps should she be making in order to recover before she goes back into that, field of dating?
I believe it's a few things, but I'm going to tell you what I did. So I started out with
Hey,
and a
Stacy.
lot of people, not a lot, some people do not subscribe to Jesus. I do.
Mhm,
All right. I started trying to figure out what he said about me, who I am, whose I am, how he sees me, and getting my value and my worth up.
mhm,
I married my husband because I thought I could not get anybody else. We were dating for a long time. Time, I felt like time was nearing, and it's just like, well, we done been messing around, might as well, you know what I'm saying? But my self-esteem was very low. But looking on me on at the outside, you wouldn't have been able to tell. Like, right, that's what my cousin's like. What do you mean? Like, you got this personality, you got blah blah blah. And I'm like, mm-mm, because I never really had great dating experiences to be able to compare it to, right? So I started getting my relationship with God better. I went to therapy. My daughter and I went to therapy because my ex-husband went to prison too. So we need to go. That was a thing. Finding out my purpose, moving in my purpose, getting around friendships. This is very important because I talked about this in my speaking engagement this weekend. Getting around friendships of people who are successful. When I say successful, that doesn't necessarily mean money wise, but I mean mentality. I do not want an impoverished friendship circle, poverty minded, mentally, spiritually, or physically. I don't want it. So everybody that I surround myself with, they have wisdom. The ones that are not there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I've lost a couple of people on my journey, but I believe the people that I have around me right now are very solid. My concentration, to be very honest, is not a man right now. It's
Yeah.
just not. And that's how I know he's coming. So I'm a dreamer. For those who don't know, I had a dream maybe like a year ago, and God was showing me that my husband was on his way to me, and he was walking toward my house with a whole bunch of red roses. And I mean, so many he could barely even carry them. And so we're going to the door, and I'm talking to God in my dream. I'm like, Lord, he's gonna beat me to the house, and I'm not gonna be there. Like, I'm gonna miss my man. And he said, no, you're not. You need to get in your car and drive there, and you will meet him at the exact time that you're supposed to meet him. What cars represent in dreams is your ministry, is your business, is the gift that God gave you to move and to do in the earth. So what does that say? That says you are supposed to concentrate on what God told you to do. And while you're doing
Mhm.
that, you are going to meet your man. Your concentration should not be on my man. Yes, we're going to build him. Yes, we're going to write the vision and make it plain when it comes to him. Yes, we will pray for him, but that is not our concentration. That's not my
Absolutely.
concentration. Because what was Ruth doing? She was in the field working when Boaz saw
Working.
her. She was working,
Absolutely.
right?
Mhm.
And then also, what was Esther doing? Preparing. We need to be doing those two
Absolutely.
things, preparing, being the wife before the wife. Are you getting your hair done? Are you keeping your body together? Are you keeping your health together? Are you changing, what you're enhancing your look, your mindset, your communication? If you don't know how to communicate, you can cancel Christmas when it comes to being married. You can cancel it because you have got to know how to communicate and listen effectively. You're not always right. You're not.
Mhm.
You're going to have to learn to compromise. You're not going to always have your way. You are not going to always like this ninja every day. Do you understand me? It's going to be some days he gets on your nerves, and you can't be talking about, I'm leaving every 5 minutes. You are going to have
Yeah.
to learn to shut your mouth. You can't be running your jibs the whole time. You got to learn how to fight fair. He going to say some stuff that's going to piss you off, and you going to want to use something against him to undercut him and hurt his feelings and stab him and hurt him. But how many of y'all know you need to create a soft space for him to lay his head, but not a soft space like Delilah. Because what did Delilah do? She used what he told her against him. Women, we got to stop that. We have got to
Mhm.
stop that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that speaks to, yeah, you got some people in the thread saying teach, because that's real talk. And another thing is, like, she not only was out there working, but she was fulfilling what her purpose was in life at that moment. And so, if you are the type of woman who um isn't, well, I ain't gonna say just any type of woman, but if you're not found in the place, because that's what he's supposed to do, right? Find a man to find a wife, he findeth a good thing. So he's supposed to be finding you out, doing those things that a virtuous woman does. Who is the virtuous woman? I believe all women, are called to be virtuous, in capacity, because we have the ability to nurture, grow, to birth, you know. So what are we birthing spiritually, as it is in the natural, you know, or as it is in the spirit, you know, so it is in the natural. It happens spiritually first. And so a lot of times we get caught up in what we see, but you know, that's not how God operates. God has already said something about us, and then we come into a place. But I feel like, you know, if he catches you in one place, and then when you start to get it and you start to evolve and you want him to now come aboard, this talks to the woman or man that chooses wrong, because did he choose wrong, or did you choose wrong, or were you not in the place fulfilling some things and setting some orders to what it is? Because now he's trying to catch up with, oh, okay, well, you didn't never say none of this because you didn't know who you was. You didn't know what your purpose was. You didn't
Right.
know what you desired. So then he's like, okay, well, you didn't tell me you was gonna be doing this, you know. And so if
Right.
you're not
Right.
fulfilling, if you are not being honest, you know, I remember a time in my life where I was insecure. I didn't have a vision for myself and different things like that. How many women can relate at times? And I'm not saying all women were like this, but I know quite a few where they didn't eat like they, you know, um, in front of a man. They didn't eat a certain way, or they
I
didn't
am
do
like I'm
things.
eating in front of y'all. I don't have no problem with that.
They didn't do
Go ahead.
certain things, and you know, you didn't feel like you could be your whole self. And I feel like that's a
Right.
component, you know, that misses a lot of times, is because if you can't be your true self, not to say that you got to let it all hang out on, you know, the first whatever, but he should be able to know who you are so that he can judge right as to if I'm the good fit for you, because he's the one searching. He's searching out. Now
Facts.
you have to accept, but you also need to be found doing what God has called you to do so that he can choose right and know that I can cover her. Because a lot of times, if you ain't found doing what you're supposed to be doing, how can he know that he can cover you? That's where the matchup, that's where you can choose wrong, because I got this high anointing and calling on my life, and then I got somebody that don't know how to cover it. Oh, whoa, it's about to be a
It ain't
crash and
gonna
burn
work.
situation. Right.
It gonna work.
It's about to be a crash and burn situation. So, yeah, it's important. It's important to know, you know, and that's what Reagan, for those of you in the Indianapolis, Indiana area, you know, Reagan is coming to share. Does she have all the answers? No. But we figuring this thing out. We are tapping into our anointings, our gifts, and we, you know, she's had a relationship where she's had some failed choices, and she's beginning to ask God, like, okay, this next go round, God, this is, listen, I need to line up. I need to align with what it is that now you call me to be, because I know who I am now, and I'm walking in that, and I walk in my purpose. I walk in the authorities, and you know, she speaks a lot about being a billionaire. You know, I want to be in a space, but you know, do you have a man, or will you have a man that can handle you in that capacity? If you happen to make more money than he does,
Right.
are you okay with it? And is he okay with it? Because you can be okay
I
with
remember.
making. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Mm,
I remember when my ex-husband was in prison, and I started getting serious about my business. I had been traveling quite a bit, and he said, "Yeah, I've been hearing about you and your business, and you doing all this traveling. Like, what's going on? Like, you doing too much. You doing too much." And he listened to me. It was cool when it was cool when I had my little business over here. But when it
mm-hmm,
started picking up and I was traveling, he was like, "Hold up, this too much," because he was used to
mm-hmm,
being the breadwinner and bringing, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, how are you maintaining without me? But
mm-hmm,
what God was saying was, first of all, you shouldn't have married him, number one. Number two, he needed to show me that I could maintain without him, because there
mm-hmm,
were so many instances where he gave me the out to divorce him. It was ridiculous. And the only reason I was holding on to it is because financially I didn't think I could make it. And let me be very clear, that first year I was toe up. I
Mm-hmm.
was 16 credit cards in debt. All of them was maxed out. Over $100,000 in debt. Fast forward to today, I have one credit card and no debt. I paid
Come
off
on
two
here.
cars, sold my houses, and moved to Texas. Listen to me. Those hard times show you who you are. And a lot of times we feel like we can't get over the hump. Oh, we need him to do this, and we need. And again, I'm not gonna say divorce your husband, but I'm just gonna point you back to what I'm gonna give you my situation. I'm gonna tell you what God said, and just remind you of what He's already told you. You know what I'm saying? So we have to make sure that our purpose, like LaRonda said, our purpose is so important. It is so important. And also, let me tell you what's very attractive to a man. I remember this dude I was dealing with. I had a conversation with him about business, and I was telling him I want to quit my job. And so he was in business too. So we were talking about certain things. And he ended up texting me later. He said, "Your ambition is so sexy." Let me be very clear when I say this. When you are moving in your purpose, that is very attractive to a man. You
Yes.
don't have, listen to me, that will
Yes.
be the first thing when he see that you got something going on, and you not always wanting to be in his face, and you out here in the street doing all this loose rapping with these girls that ain't doing nothing. Listen to me, he's what. And side note, and I talk about this too, if you are in business or you want to get a man, clean your social media up. Your profile picture should not look like you just been in a fight. Do you understand me? Clean up what you talking about. Clean up your pictures. Put your best foot forward. If you're not combing your hair, listen, figure out if you in a depressed mode. Have you cleaned your house up? Have you straightened up? Have you organized? Because don't no man want no nasty woman. Like,
Mm-hmm.
be the wife before the wife.
Yeah.
Have you
You can't
learned some
have
new
it.
recipes?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah,
Have
have
an
you
extra.
learned some new
You
recipes?
listen, and
What
then you have
Miranda?
high expectations, but then you don't
Yeah.
want him. You don't you don't want him. You don't want a nasty man, but yeah.
Like, here's the thing. I guess I can see it because I kind of fantasize marriage in the sense that my mom showed me a lot of stuff. I told her, I was like, "Mama, you need to come show these women how to get married because she can show you how to be a feminine woman." Do you hear me? I'm talking about setting the mood. When he come in the house, if you're able to cook or whatever, have a meal or have somebody bring the meal in, have the camp, go, babe, go chill, like cater to him. Like, listen to me. I fantasize and I set that mood in my house now. What does your
Mhm.
gown look like when you go to bed? Are you going to bed with holes and chicken grease on your gown? Because I know I did. And my ex-husband said, "What are you doing? You look crazy." And so if you coming in with looking all crazy all the time, listen to me. He gonna find somebody out here who's not. You better
Yeah.
ask me how I know.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know.
Yeah.
Be the wife before the wife. Start practicing now. If your pH is off, get it together now. Because when he hit that thing, he don't want to be smelling nothing. Get it together.
Baby, you
Are
hear
you cleaning
me?
your ears, your belly button? Are you getting prepared? Are you ready? Because a lot of women think they're ready, but they not. Is your
Do
neck
you?
clean? Does he reach back there and try to kiss you on your neck and taste dirt? Are you together?
Listen. You telling the truth though. Look, tell the
It
truth and
is.
shame
A
the
lot of these
devil. You
women think
gotta,
they got it together and be thrown off.
yeah,
Girl, you
because that's the whole truth. Listen here, you hear me? You got to have it together because listen,
smart.
it, that part. How important? I know we limited on time because Reagan's out there working. She working hard and working. But how important is it to have um someone, because healing takes time, and so being in a relationship, or healing yourself, getting through some processes of healing before a relationship, the healing may not always take place before the relationship happens. A large part of it should, but speak to the type of man that can minister to those broken places, without judgment, or without, those places in you that, are sometimes deeply rooted. It comes from having your elders that didn't have, I was watching a program, The Queen's Court, and um, there was one young lady, I think it was Evelyn from Basketball Wives. She had some barriers and walls up. And so the man that she typically always went for was not really the man that worked for her. The one that she wouldn't have seen in the room was the one she found out in the end, that this is the man I have always longed for, but because she didn't open herself up. So talk to that, as far as, men that, as you're coming in touch with yourself and you begin to know what it is you want and need, the man that can help you track those broken places and put the pieces back together again. Like, how important is
They're
that?
probably going to be opposite. They're going to be opposite of you.
Mm-hmm.
One of the guys I dealt with after my marriage, he showed me a completely different side of a man. I'm talking about physically, mentally, business wise. Like, if I hadn't experienced him, he was very monotone. Like, he was a man's man. I love a man's man, but he was very outspoken. Like, sometimes we get, as black folks, we get used to dealing with men who are, what you want, all of that. But he was
Yeah.
not like that. He knew how to communicate, and it took me a minute to even to to grasp that, because I was used to the yelling and the hollering and the, you know what I'm saying? So when
Mm-hmm.
I got with this person or dealing with this person, and he was, trying to talk things out, and he wasn't yelling, and he was still assertive, but he was willing to listen, and put me in check sometimes when I needed to, not in a mean way, but I had to learn how um, to adapt to that. So really, when you start doing the healing and the inner work and really know who you are, 9 times out of 10, you will not be attracted to the same type of person you used to be dealing with. Because
Yeah.
now there's no way on God's green earth would I look at somebody that looked like my husband. And not that
Yeah.
my husband, ex-husband, was ugly or anything. He was nice looking, but the type of person he was in the street. He dealt drugs. So I went from dealing with, somebody who dealt drugs to somebody who works in corporate America and is a business owner, somebody that's more aligned with what I'm doing now. So, and he's handsome and he was tall. You know what I'm saying? So that
Mm-hmm.
there's two different spectrums on everything. I used to like the chubbier guy, which I still like a big boy, but before, when my self-esteem was low, that's all I thought I could get, until I, was dealing with these other people. And they was like, nah, babe, you listen, you can have more. A lot of times we don't think we can have more. So it's just the healing aspect, and really knowing who you are and being honest with who you are. I know some of the
Yeah.
prettiest girls have the lowest self-esteem. That's what Prophet Kanye West said, and it is the truth, because pretty girls have a whole nother set of problems. The average girls got their own problems, and the ugly ones got theirs too. Everybody got them, they just different. But we have got
Mm-hmm.
to learn, excuse me, how to accept the ugly truth about ourselves and change it. I want to learn from the other people who have messed up before me, and I want to learn from my mistakes too, right? And I just want to do and be better. And I know now that I can, whoever I want to, not whoever I want to get, I'm going to get, but I'm worthy to get the type of man that I want. I'm worthy of that.
Mm-hmm.
And you have got to realize that on your own. You have to. You have to. And if you don't like something about yourself, change it. And we're going to talk
Yeah.
about physical appearance. We're not going to get on it on here, but let me be very clear. Some of y'all need to clean it up. Some of y'all need to clean it up, because men are visual. And I'm going to leave it there.
So that's what I was going to ask you before we ran out of time. Kind of break down what it is that build a man for those that maybe just getting on or just hearing you speak for the first time. Um, kind of talk about what Build a Man is, and then what you will be bringing those that are in the Indianapolis area, Indiana area, that are wanting to come in. Talk about what that experience is going to look like and what it is that you do, and then also plug anyone that is in a certain area. If you want to bring her in, Reagan is open to come to your area to bring the workshop to you as well.
Yeah. So Build a Man, to me, how God gave it to me. If How many of y'all are familiar with the movie Waiting to Exhale? Waiting to Exhale. So God gave me that portion of it before he gave me Build a Man. And so what Waiting to Exhale was a group of women who were successful. They own businesses, or they had high jobs in corporate, but they were really good friends and high successful jobs or businesses, who all went through something concerning men. They all had a man problem, whatever it was. They were just different. And they all, it was all kind of centered around men and life, right? And so what does that tell us? That tells us that we're all going to go through things, but we need the right sisters to come around us and help us get through whatever it is that we're going through. So we're still going to be successful, and we are going to be all right. Yes, we're going to have bumps in the road, but we're going to do this thing together. And so with Build a Man, God told me that there are men out here that are ready to be husbands. I physically have seen it with my own eyes when I was dating. I've seen it, but we need to learn to know who we are, what we want, and know how to move in that purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to help you, and I want all of us to come together and help one another create a sisterhood of healing first, knowing who we are, building this man, and learn how to and I'm gonna say, Kate, I know that bothers people sometimes when I say cater to our men, but when you get the right man, it's going to be a reciprocal relationship, or it should be. When you give to him, he's going to give back. And so you will not miss anything. You don't have to go into the relationship saying, oh, well, what can I get? No, you're going to go into the relationship, what can I give? But you're going to know how to identify the man to be able to give to. And so just being very specific about what you want in this season, because I believe that God is going to give you your heart's desire. I know I am. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it for several reasons, but we're all going to get it because we're going to do it together. And again, one can chase 1,000, two can chase 10. So what happens when we get more than two women in the room? That's going to help build us, right? And that we're going to each talk to ourselves with helping build a man. Because who can tell you about building your man? Your home girls. Because even if you don't come to the event, which I want you to, and bring your girls, y'all can sit together and have a Waiting to Exhale party. And you can hire me to come into your house, and we're going to talk about how your friends can help you build your man. Because a lot of the times your friends know what you need more so than you do. Because and even if you come to the event and say, well, I think I need this. Well, if me and the other women in the room done picked up on your spirit, we can say, nah, sis, I think you need a man that's a little bit more docile, that he can, you know what I'm saying? So we can help one another build, because some things we may not think about. We may not think about those things, right? And so it's just a collective. Build a Man is a collective for you to walk in your purpose, for you to live a happy, whole, and complete life in and on purpose. And your man is the cherry on top.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And to wrap it up, I know that you have to get on, but a lot of things fall in line with who you are. And like you said, knowing who you are, knowing your worth, knowing your value, not accepting just anything, building your value up. And so sometimes, like Reagan was saying, sometimes you got to change your circle, your inner circle, not necessarily disconnect with everybody, because, there are some people that you need at the table. You need some haters at the table. You need some people that's going to challenge, some things about you. But you also need those people that's going to support you, uplift you, be honest with you, tell you, the real deal, not allow you to accept anything. Because when you know your purpose and you sharing space with others that know who you are and your purpose, they won't just allow you, to settle for anything. It's just like going to, like, if I know there's a bad restaurant, or if I know somebody is not doing their due diligence as far as a business, and I know my friend is going, Oh, I'm great. Put them on. How many times have we, oh, you might not want to try them. I tried them and,
Right.
so it's the same, I feel like in relationships. And oftentimes we ought to be able to, be receiving of it too. Have people in your corner that you're going to trust. Because if you got a whole bunch of people that honestly, that you ain't really feeling or you ain't trusting, you got a friendship pool of women that you ain't really trusting their opinion, trusting their decisions. Oh, that's going to make a whole lot of impact, or have a whole lot of impact on some decisions that you're making. Why, one, are you hanging with a whole bunch of folks that don't have your best interests, don't like you anyway, all of these things, because, we pick some bad friends sometimes, and we let haters sit at the table and make decisions about our lives. And
Listen, that comes from not knowing who you are, though. That's still the
yeah,
same thing. When you heal, it's
absolutely.
gonna be people that you not gonna have around you. It's not. And me now, I'm very unapologetic with who I deal with.
Yeah,
And my
yeah.
friend will tell you, Reagan, you've been to cut somebody off and they don't know that they've been cut off. I'm still cordial, but you
Yeah,
can't come to my table.
yeah.
If you know I'm not talking to you for an extended period of time, it's a wrap, sis. And it's okay,
Mhm.
like no love lost. But I'm in a season where I want everything that God has for me because I don't deserve it from him, but I deserve it from life. You know what I'm saying? I've worked hard. You know what I'm saying? I've got seed in the ground. I help people. Like I just want to live a good life, and I don't want anybody around in my circle or my man who's gonna stop that. I want God's
Mhm.
best. And I
Absolutely.
want God to make me an example to show me I'm God's best. Do you know
Yeah.
how you look when you get with the right man and represent the kingdom? Listen to me. Do you know how many people will want to get married if they see a healthy marriage? I didn't say perfect, I said healthy.
Mhm.
Communication, the love of God. Like, do you know how to pray for your man? Because listen, let me tell you
Mhm.
something. That's another thing. This is a side note, and I don't know, somebody need to hear this. You're gonna have to come outside of yourself when you get married. I remember when
Mhm.
my husband had just got indicted and he was nervous as I don't know what because he had never been to prison and he could not sleep and he was losing it. And I had to stay up with him for 24 hours. And half of that time, in and out of that day and night, was spent praying for him and praying for his mind and praying that God regulate his mind and his thoughts. If you're not ready to come outside of yourself, you're not ready to get married. If you're talking about what I'm not going to do, you're not ready to get married.
Listen here,
You're
because
not.
it's gonna teach you prayer.
You're not.
It's gonna teach you prayer.
It is. Oh, listen to me. Oh, listen to me. Girl, listen, I remember when I finally got filled with the Holy Ghost, and that's when I started having my dreams for real. I remember I was asleep, and I remember seeing an unclean spirit. Listen to me, an unclean spirit come in our bedroom and try to attack my husband. I had to get up and pray for him. Listen to me. And here's the other thing. If you're not saved, I don't know what to tell you. I don't
Mhm.
know what to tell you, but listen, the best will come when you get married. Because guess who don't like marriage? Satan. Satan. And it is very easy for them to come and try to creep into your marriage. You better hear what I'm saying. And if you don't have a prayer life, cancel Christmas. Now,
Cancel
all the
Christmas.
other folks who want to get married, be my guest. Be my guest.
Mhm.
Be my guest. But I can't offer you nothing but to tell you need to trust God with your marriage and try to work on that thing and come outside yourself. I'm telling you
Yes.
what I know.
Yes.
I'm telling you what I know.
So build a man. She's taking you victorious
You're the man.
places. Build a man, and so yeah, you in building a man, you building you as well. The rebirth of love, and what that looks like, eternal restoration. Restoring those places in you that are lying dormant, those purpose places. So she's tapping into quite a bit. It's not, like I said, it's beyond the title of what it is. A lot of times, you know how we do. We got to put a catchy, and God works with us as God was giving it to her. He knew that was gonna grab some ears. Build a Man was gonna grab some ears, but it's about healing, ladies. It's about tapping into yourself and knowing what you want before you arrive at that place and not missing them. Because, honey, how many women have missed their man and let them go to someone else because they did not know what they wanted, and they did not, they weren't working and walking in their purpose. They weren't fulfilling the order of what they were called to do. And so he went on, and then so now she's working harder, preparing, getting their home, manning the home that was supposed to be two people, manning a business structure or vision, like all of these things that you're doing alone that could have possibly been a little bit different had you either chose right or not missed the boat. And so now you got to go around this mountain all over again because you created it. God meant for us to go to the top of the mountain, not around it. So, I know that there have been some valley, decisions and different things that we as women, and a lot of times it's like you said, it's the people that we have around us, their mindset. We've allowed other mindsets to rub off on ours, change ours, cause us to compromise, not staying sturdy on it, like what is it? What did it say that, an unstable man is an unstable mind is unstable in all his ways. So, if your mind is not set up, if you don't have, you can get thrown this way and that way, as regards to relationships, or even just stay in a place too long, so it's important for nothing else. If you don't attend this event for nothing else, but just to tap into your purpose. Maybe you've been like going around and trying to figure out, because you have been in so many broken relationships, whether it be male or even friendship. Maybe you just need to sit there because you didn't let one of your friends talk you out of a relationship that she walked herself into.
Listen to me. Get around from them raggedy girls. Raggedy. No raggedy females. Listen to me. I keep telling you. They ain't got no man. They don't listen. Half of my friends are married, and they have been married over 15 years and successfully married. Both of their husbands like them. I didn't say love. They love them, but they like them. They still go out and date. Those are the people that I want to be surrounded by, not somebody who is single with terrible relationship and don't know how to keep no man. I'm not listening to you. Even my single friends, we still all learn from one another. We still want to do and be better and grow and do better. No raggedy friends. Get rid of them. I don't care if y'all was friends from kindergarten. Nobody cares nothing about that. That time don't mean nothing. Bye. That's what I told them this weekend. Get rid of them. Get rid of them.
If y'all don't know, right?
And then they ugly. They don't know how to dress. They can't show you. What are we doing?
What are we doing, sis? What are we doing? And
we
if
don't
y'all don't
want
know,
it.
Reagan gonna have a t-shirt.
What are we doing
tomorrow? No raggedy friends. Y'all get on her page tomorrow, because I'm certain she's gonna have a t-shirt or a bag or cup or something. No raggedy friends. And so
listen to me. You are what I'm talking about. Well, here's the thing. When I say ugly, I don't necessarily mean physically ugly, because everybody not blessed. You know what I'm saying? But when I say ugly, I mean ugly in spirit. Listen to me. I want positive people around me. When we go to brunch, we may talk about a couple people here and there. Girl, what she got? But for the most part, we are talking about big things. What we gonna do? Are we gonna get together and buy an Airbnb so we can rent it out and get some bread? Like, what are we doing with our retirement account? Like, those are the things we're talking about building. We're not talking about people. You know what I'm saying? We don't got time for that because we worrying about us. I don't listen to me. No ugly friend. And I meant that need to be a t-shirt, no friends. Because people gonna assume I'm talking about ugly for real. But here's another thing. I want my friends to be able to match my look. Because guess what? I wasn't wearing heels, but what I've noticed in the area that I'm in with Houston, it's a lot of women out here, they real sexy. So I'm like, let me get back to myself. Because I used to wear heels all the time. But honey, I'm a little bit overweight and I need something that's going to hold me up where I'm not tiptoeing looking like a goat. baby goat when I'm walking, right? So I need some good heels. So my homegirl was like, this is what you need to get. Bet I went and got some. I felt like I could run track in these shoes. Do you understand
Get a
me?
good old
So your
platform
friends
shoe.
should
I'm
be
saying.
enhancing your look, your mental, your
Yeah.
spiritual.
Exactly.
Listen, they should be able to help you not be ugly from the inside out.
That's it. You should have in every
We're
corner
not
that
doing
a
it.
man, every area that a man is attractive to you. If you are in the pool of dating, you should have those type of friends that can offer that. If you're not a stylish person, then you need to have a stylish friend in your circle. If you're not good with finances, then you need to have somebody that's good with finances. If you're not a businesswoman, then you need to get a businesswoman. If you are lacking in any of those areas in regards to friends, then you need to get in the right places. And how do you do that? One thing I know is big. I have a few friends that are not big on social. And so I ain't saying you got to be on Facebook and stuff, but it's men that are out there. If you looking to be, married, or this is your vision, then you need to get into the social arena. You need to be doing things to put yourself out there, because then, especially if you have vision and you have purpose for yourself, and then, like I said, you can't be in the house and then he finds you at the grocery store and all you want to do is sit in the house, and then 5 6 years later you ready to do this business or this ministry or whatever, and then you start doing all this stuff, and he was so used to you being in the house, but now you got a whole attitude because he got an attitude because you in the house. Oh, well, you ain't told him nothing about where you're going. So just getting acclimated with those areas and places, to reiterate, be where you need to be for him to find you. you know because he gonna most likely be around some more men that know how to support their wives or their woman. It's so he's gonna be in those places, and he's going to be talking to his boys like we talking to our girls. She getting you all right together. Reagan telling you how to clean your neck, because it's gonna be some brother that come and want to smell all up on your neck, and if your neck ain't about the right, you smelling like sour
That's
milk
right.
behind the
And
ear
we
and all that.
listen, women to smell good. Listen, women to smell good. We need to smell pretty and smell good. So Lorraine was talking about going out. Let me tell you something. For the women, I got a book. My first book that I wrote is called "Put Me First." It's on Amazon. But I kind of tied that book into this. You need to be scared to go out and eat by yourself. You need to stop being scared to go sit at the bar and drink. But you can go to a. Let me give you a short story. We got I got to go. Give you a short story. In an area that I live in a suburb of Houston.
It's going in and out on me.
That's
I don't know if it's in and out on everybody
I
else. Can y'all hear?
found a job. Can you hear
You're going in and out on me. I don't know if
Miranda?
it's like that for everybody else. Is it just me, or anybody else
No,
having
I
it?
see you. Yours is kind of in now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say this and we can get off here.
Uh-oh. Sound like she cut out. So let me see. She'll be coming back, y'all. See. Okay. Hopefully she'll be coming back in. She's probably driving to get to her next destination because she's out working. So hopefully she'll be coming back in. But this has been good today, you all. If you are in the Indianapolis, Indiana area, we are looking to do this workshop as an overnight. And so she's calling me. Let me see. She's calling me. Is she calling me? 1-865-235. She's calling me, y'all. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, she said it went out, y'all. So let's see. She's probably not gonna answer because she don't know it's me. Oh, you back on there?
Loranda,
That was me calling you.
now
You there?
listen, this is funny because I thought the whole thing had just cut off. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yep. It says it's still live.
Can you hear
Is
me?
it not live? Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I thought the whole thing went away.
It's saying
So
it's still
I had
live
just
for
hung up.
me. Let me see. Let me look
It
at
said what?
it's still saying that it's live.
It's still live. No,
Oh,
it's live. But
okay.
that's funny because on my end it just completely cut out.
But you already said this though, that
The devil mad. Let me say this because I gotta go, but I'm gonna say this. I
okay.
keep getting fought very hard
With
for
this.
this builder man. And that's how I know something is on this. If you desire to be married, you're going to get your husband. And I'm going to speak that by faith. This is not by me. This is by faith in the Lord Jesus Christ that I serve. I'm telling you, every time I try to say something pertaining to this builder man, it keeps getting cut off. But let me tell you something. There's nothing that the devil can do to stop it. Do you
I
understand
know
me?
that, and
If
we
you want
agree.
to be married and be
Mhm.
desired to be married, you will be married if you go through the proper steps to be able to do what you're supposed to do and walk like God created you. Do everything that he created you to do. But what I was going to say earlier is that you have to learn to date yourself. You have to. You have to. You have to learn to be comfortable going places by yourself. Ask me how I know. You have to. I've had to learn to go to the movies by myself, to go sit at the bar by myself, to learn how to engage. When you see a fine man and you want to say hi, at least give him a smile, recognize him, because he needs to be like, is she open to, to receive me, to, is it okay to speak? Because sometimes nowadays when men speak to women, they like, what he looking at?
Right,
And all that attitude and stuff like that. You need to
right.
be open. Give him a smile. Give him a something. But that's
Yeah,
stuff that we got to learn. And I'm
yeah,
learning now. Like, I'm in Houston. I do not like going to events by myself. But guess what? I've had some of the best times going. I've had some of the best conversations going. I've had met some of the best people going to places by myself. Right? We have to learn to love, like, to be by ourselves. We don't always have to go with somebody, because guess what? If I was waiting to go to an event to go with somebody, I would not always go. I would have to wait. I would be at the house. I'm not doing it. You don't
yeah,
need to do it. Ain't
yeah,
nobody paying you no attention if you at the restaurant, at the bar, eating by yourself. Matter
yeah.
of fact, if you go to the right places, I remember I was in Charlotte. I went to a spot called Crave. It's a dessert bar. Listen to me. It was all kind of, listen to me. It was all kind of brothers in there. Do you understand me? All kind. Back to my story here in Houston. I had a drop that I had to do at it's like a mid-level expensive restaurant. And it's on the river, like one of the river fronts close to my neighborhood. When I pulled up, it was Bentleys, it was Lamborghinis, it was BMWs, it was all kind of cars. And guess who was coming out of them? Black men. Now we know our
Mhm.
white brothers and sisters, they're gonna be there too, but black men. So the man that you want, you have to position yourself to go there. Side note, Home Depot, not Office Depot, Home Depot, Lowe's, those are great places. Listen to me, you go where the men are. You go put your little jogging pants on, or your little spandex pants on. Now, if you got a fupa, cover that thing up. because we don't want that thing slanging and banging. Do you understand? We got to look presentable. Even if you do have on some lounge wear, still look nice.
Yes.
But you
Yes.
have to position yourself. How is, like LaRonda said, how is he gonna find you if you don't go nowhere? Huh? You don't always have to have on makeup during the week. I don't wear makeup, but I don't have to, because guess what? I go get my skincare. I go and get a facial every now and again. I go and get a Brazilian wax. Try to keep my nails painted, like the stuff that I do. You know what I'm saying? Keep yourself up and go somewhere. Go somewhere and be seen. Be noticed. Date yourself. Go have a good time with yourself. He gonna say, well, what are your interests? If you sit in the house, you don't have none. What have you read? Are you listening to any podcasts? How are you expanding your brain? Because what y'all gonna talk about on your date?
Yeah.
What you talking about? What do you know? I'm just saying. We're gonna get off of here. But the
Yes.
devil is a lie. I'm coming to Fort Lauderdale. Whenever Sister Ashley brings me, I'm gonna be there. Indianapolis, we are having a Waiting to Exhale weekend, building our perfect man from the inside out. So Sister LaRonda done came and changed the plans. So we're gonna have an overnight stay at a nice Airbnb, and we're gonna have a girls' night. I like to have this event really, again, it's based off of kind of like Waiting to Exhale. When they had their overnight party or whatever, at their night where they were just talking. I don't drink, but if you have your wine or whatever and good food, we're gonna have good food. That's gonna always be a plus. But just chilling, talking, and being very honest and transparent about our stuff and getting some healing going. Right?
A safe place. It's definitely gonna be a safe place.
Listen,
it's an open place for you to be who you
if
are.
you silly, I'm putting you out. Silly women are not they're not welcome. I'm telling you, over the few years that I've had events, well, people know me. If you coming to spectate, if you coming to be silly, if you coming to be nosy, keep your money. And if I feel like you're there for that, I'm gonna ask you to leave, because I really believe that this is a season for wives. If that's what you want, I believe it's your season. And I don't have time. LaRonda doesn't have time. She got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. Like Ayana said, we're not finna fight you for your healing. So you're going to give us your money, and then you just come and just, you know what I'm saying, just to be messing around and try to come in there and gossip. We're not doing it. We're past that. We're grown, right?
Yeah.
We're grown.
Yeah.
And we want to do and be better. We want to be who God called us to be. And we have to do that separately before we get with anybody. Before we get with anybody, we have to be better versions of ourselves and surround ourselves with the same. So anyway, honey, we getting out for here. Sister LaRonda, would you like to close us out?
Yes, yes. Well, I appreciate each and every one of you all. Miss Khadijah. Khadijah said she coming and she got a man. Listen, and that's what it's all about. She said she coming and she got a man. It is such a refreshing thing for us as women to get together and to be able to share in that space. So we're looking forward to having Ms. Reagan. Myself and her, we met on Periscope, and so it has been a treat ever since. She has been a real good friend, a great person. She has been consistently who she is, and I do appreciate that. If anybody else knows me, if you don't know me, just trust my word, trust the God in her. She is an amazing woman of God. I believe God has given her a great vision for this event. And so come and be a part. If you know of a sister, or if you know someone that is in the need, don't talk about her. Put her in this class. Pay for her to come. Put somebody here that needs the help. Stop talking about your sisters and what mistakes they have made, because a lot of it is rooted. So be in the place. We're going to put some more information out about it once we have secured a spot for this weekend. It's going to be the 24th of June, 2023 here in the Indianapolis, Indiana area. Like I said, if you can't come, get somebody else there. All right. So we thank you all. Stay tuned. We'll be trying to.
And also, I also wanted to add too, LaRonda. If you are in another city, state, whatever, you can hire me to come to you. If it's a small group, if it's a big group, whatever, I will come to you and teach this class. I will come to you and teach this class. And also, when you do host this event, you will get a percentage of the sales. Okay. I will come to you and host this class, but you will also get a percentage of the sales of the class. Okay. If you're interested, you can inbox me or you can go to the website, buildamandworkshop.com, buildamandworkshop.com, or you can inbox me and we can talk about it. I'm pretty cool with, and open, but like I said, my heart is to help. If you desire to get married this season, I want to help you do that. And if you don't, if
Absolutely.
again, like I said, if you don't want to be married and you just want to concentrate on being a better person, I can show you the before and after. I'm nowhere where I used to be. Nowhere, nowhere. And I am living my best life right now. And it ain't even really got started. That's the thing. So I'm just ready. Sorry, LaRonda, I keep interrupting. I'm so
No,
sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. And so that's what I was gonna follow up with is that, if you want to connect with Miss Reagan, go ahead and follow her. She has some other amazing platforms. She has one platform called Dating is Dead for those of you that are married, or if you are interested in doing some other things in your state. She does travel. She does this amazing is Dating Dead gathering where she brings men and women together in the same room. So your husband could potentially be in the room at one of those events. She also has some escapes for women. So if you are a woman and you want to start to connect with yourself, those Putting Me First events that she has, she goes to some amazing, amazing places. Reagan is definitely all things Reagan. She does have a lot of things that she is tapped into. And so, yeah. And if you are in the Houston area, connect with her. She would love, to connect with you if you are in the Houston area. She goes to a wonderful, wonderful church there. And yeah, just an amazing woman. So again, we thank you for coming and sharing with us today and being in this space. We look forward to doing something else like this very soon because we want to build this event up and get as many women in the room that need to be there as possible. So have an amazing rest of your day. We speak blessings over each and every one of you. And until next time, we'll see you again. Bye-bye.